Hello, everyone. I'm Denton Davidson for Gold Derby, and I'm joined by three-time Emmy nominee for NBC's hit drama series This Is Us, Milo Ventimiglia. Milo, this series has touched viewers because of really the honest conversations. I've said it kind of feels like therapy sometimes watching because everyone can relate to the characters on some level. Um, is there any particular storyline in season 5 that really made you feel proud to be a part of telling this season?
Oh man. Um, Looking back at season 5, I feel like it's hard to delineate sometimes between seasons 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. They all kind of run together. I think a few of my more favorite storylines. I don't know how to answer that question. I honestly don't. I honestly don't. I felt very much more connected as an audience member this year, but at the same time I still feel like I experienced things as Jack, the dad of the kids. So
Right.
it's kind of like when Kate's going through something, when Randall's going through something, when Kevin's going through something, it's through a very unique lens of Jack as a concerned father versus an audience watching and connecting to a storyline. It's kind of screwy, but I don't know if there's one thing that would have I would have hung on to a little bit more than any of the others. And now they're all bombarding me in the head, so I can't even answer the question.
Well, one of the things that Jack is dealing with this season is um, sort of his own childhood trauma that his dad pressuring him in sports. His dad's an
Mm-hmm.
alcoholic. A lot of his adulthood,
Sure.
it seems to be like he's trying not to become his father. What was it like sort of preparing for those episodes where you're working with a young Kevin and pressuring him,
Mm-hmm.
and how do you get into that mindset?
I mean, I personally had the most wonderful father anybody could ever have, my dad, Pete. And I know that not everybody gets that. There's one line that Jack says when he's sitting at the bar when he takes Kevin to the football camp, and he's sitting at the bar and he's kind of opening up about his father, and he starts talking about his dad. And Jack has a moment where he says, my dad, he wasn't all bad.
Hmm.
And I was really drawn into that because Pete Onorati, who plays my father in the show, who's just the most lovely, wonderful actor of all time, um, even he struggled with how poor his character had handled his relationship with his son. And things like that are what I'd like to see a little bit more, but I also want to know that that's not the focus of the show.
Speaking about, the bar scene and talking to young Kevin, you get to work with a lot of these young actors on set. What is it like, working with the various kids on set and sort of being able to get to be a mentor for them?
What's been a lot of fun is seeing how they've grown, starting as these kids that were, and I'll talk about Parker and Lonnie and Mackenzie first. Starting, they were just their kids, little 8-year-old kids that were excited to be on a set for the first time. Some of them a little bit more than the others, but to see them grow and mature and really find themselves wanting to figure out the craft of acting as it relates to them. Like Lonnie's very different than Parker. Parker's very different than Mackenzie. Mackenzie's very different than Lonnie. It's like they all kind of have their different way of operating in the craft of acting. So to see them mature through that, and at the same time see them mature, just they were little babies basically when we started. Now they're on their way to being teens and going to be adults and whatnot. It's just it was a lot of one. It was very wonderful to see them grow and mature and really find their own identity outside of playing these characters that I think they really embraced in the beginning. But like, well, how do they operate as young artists? It was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. And then, moving into kind of like the teens, they were, I think Logan was 18 when we started. Hannah was 20. and Niles was only 15. So to watch them kind of grow and mature through that younger stage, that younger phase of being in the business, I found myself talking to the three of them a lot about what it's like being young and wanting to do that good work with those great writers and directors, but maybe not quite getting picked yet. The kind of the
Right.
struggles of being in your early 20s and your late teens, and you're just trying to make it, you're trying to work, you're trying to prove to people that you deserve to be there. Those were a lot of the conversations that I was having with the three of them. And then of course our 5-year-olds, and then babies. And babies, you're just changing diapers because there's just a shitty diaper you got to change. and
Right.
and you know, the 5-year-olds, you're just really just hurting kittens. I mean, trying to, like, you know, slide, have fun, but also slide in these lines and these moments that we need for the actual episode. So and again, like, they've grown and they've matured, and they've taken more control of their craft and their idea of what acting is for them. It's pretty wonderful to watch.
And one of those episodes with those younger kids is the brotherly love episode, which I think is just, it takes a real deep dive in Randall's character, and not just what it's like to, grow up in a white society, but a white family for him.
Mm-hmm.
And those scenes in particular where you go to the filming of Mr. Rogers. What was that like, filming those scenes where you're basically on a Mr. Rogers set?
Nostalgic for
Yeah.
me. I mean, I used to watch Mr. Rogers as a kid, and I'd really watch it, every time it came out. So it was, there was a group of parents sitting behind the actual children, and the children had no idea what was going on. They were just there, kind of being told, hey, look here, look there, whatever. But us parents, when the actor who was playing Mr. Rogers stepped on, all of us were like, oh my God, this is so crazy. This is so crazy. So it was nostalgic. But even beyond that, yeah, the experiences that Randall constantly has in figuring out his identity outside of how he was raised, outside of what he knows, to know really where he came from and who he is as a very strong Black man. I think it's a wonderful thing to unpack as individuals, but also, where we came from, and kind of marrying the two. It's complicated, and it's messy, and it's beautiful, and it's all kinds of things. But, filming that stuff with Randall and Kevin and Mr. Rogers, like, you can see the confusion through the young eyes, and hopefully, that discovery of self really happens, at some point in people's lives.
And you direct the May 18th episode that's coming up. And is that something you've always wanted to do on the show? I know you've directed one other episode. Is that something you had a passion for, or has that evolved over the seasons?
No, I mean, I started directing when I was 25, doing commercial campaigns for Warner Brothers and little digital projects that no one ever expects or wants to know who directed them, things for GQ and Cadillac and Vogue, and little snippets here and there before streaming was what it is now on digital TV shows and everything. But I'd always had a want to do it. And once I got on the show, I definitely had a desire to do it, but I never raised my hand and asked. Ken Olin turned around to me one day on set and he said, well, you're going to direct one of these, right? And I said, if you guys want me to, I will. And that kind of conversation sparked a lot of other people raising their hands, a lot of other actors raising their hands and asking to direct. And then Fogelman and I had a conversation about it, and he said, you're first up. I said, okay. So I feel like them giving me a second episode means I didn't completely botch up the first one. And hopefully going into season 6, I can do a little bit more. So I'm happy behind the camera. It also gives me a chance to work with everyone. Jack being dead in the present day, I don't get to work that often with Sterling. I don't get to work that often with Chrissy or with Justin,
Right.
Susan and Sully, not ever. So for me, it's a lot of fun when I can spend time with the other cast on set in a working capacity, not just doing press and publicity or dinners or things like that.
And is that easier or more difficult when, you're directing your co-stars, when you're behind and in front of the camera and you have these long-standing relationships with people?
I have to always remember that I'm there to serve their set. They've been doing this job for 5 years in a capacity on set as an actor. And directors, particularly in TV, you're kind of like a visiting uncle or an auntie. You're there kind of popping in, you show a little love and then you pop out. So I had to respect that it's their set, even though I have the same, I guess the same weight when I'm there on set. It's mindset. It's Mandy and mindset. But I was just there to serve. I just want to make sure everybody looks good, is equipped with what they need to completely live out these storylines, the experiences, the characters. There's not a whole lot I would have to do in giving direction because everyone is really talented. There were more technical notes, but at times I would find something and I would see something. And then there's you got to be able to say it succinctly and you got to be able to say it quickly and to the point, but also inspire that actor to pull something up that they weren't quite paying attention to, but the camera's going to capture. So it really was a lot of fun, just working with everyone. And, I hope I get to keep doing it.
And you've been nominated for 3 Emmys. The series overall has just been showered in accolades. How has that experience been to not just be part of a show that connects so well with viewers, but it's really gotten such great reception from your peers in the industry as well?
To know that it's not just a popular success, but also a critical success or a critical darling, it's a good feeling. As an artist, you always just want to be a part of something that's going to make a difference. You want to be a part of something that's going to spark conversation. You want to be a part of something that people are going to change their point of view, change their direction in life, sometimes by something that they've seen. I mean, we're all inspired. I get very inspired by things that I see. To be a part of a show that is inspiring to those, again, I'm grateful. I hope people can get what they can out, and when we're gone, just go back and find new things with it.
Right. And we did learn that season 6 will be the last. So is it nice to sort of be able to wrap a bow on something? Not all series have the opportunity to know when the ending is. So you guys can sort of wrap things up succinctly.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's great. Fogelman, as I understand it, has always had a want to do a limited number of episodes. And I've been on shows where we haven't had that, where we've been just kind of going and going, and maybe the creators didn't know where they wanted the show to end, or it was something where they were just hoping it would go on forever. So they just kind of keep putting stories into a pipeline and whatever comes out, comes out. But I know quality of storytelling is really important to Dan. And he very much has had an idea of how it ends and how it travels to that ending. I think it's nice. I think it's great. I think it's tough for the audience to know that we're coming up to an end.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the network isn't too happy to have announced that, but at the same time, everything has an ending.
Yeah.
Going into that first rocket ship of a season 1, even back then, moment 1, episode 1, I knew it was going to have an ending. At this point, I think hopefully people can prepare themselves for it a little more.
Right.
And they can stay present with it. They can really enjoy it. Like, I really lean into the making of it and with the crew, and hoping we can just soak up as much as we can every episode, not feel that pressure, that stress, or that worry to sometimes make your day or hit a certain beat. It's like let's just enjoy ourselves while we can, because we know that it's going to be ending.
Yeah, I mean, viewers are going to be devastated, but it's
Yeah.
an impact, and they can go along for the ride at least this time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the experience you had on This Is Us, how will that affect, projects you look for in the future, in terms of, what template has that given you for a great set to work on?
Find people that I want to partner with, telling creative stories that folks are going to want to hear, that hopefully will change their point of view.
Well, Milo, I want to wish you and the entire cast and crew, This Is Us, good luck this upcoming awards season. If viewers watching this would like to see more interviews with awards contenders like Milo here, you can hit the subscribe button and head over to goldderby.com to make your awards predictions right now. Milo, thanks again so much for chatting with us, and good luck this season.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. Good seeing you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.